Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Align Life-Stylist podcast. I'm Corey, and I'm so thankful that you're here. If this is your first time, welcome. We are going to talk about all things metaphysical, mind, body, spirit, things that you maybe didn't know about or that you want to dive deeper into. And today I have an amazing gift. An amazing gift. Oh, you are an amazing gift. I don't know why that came out, but I have Dory Olds today, and she is an amazing gift to all of us, and you're going to understand why at the end. But she is, I have known Dory for, I don't know, maybe 4 years now. And we're going to talk a little bit once I do her intro about how I know her and why I know she needed to come into my life. But Dory has an amazing story that she's going to share today. But I want to tell you a little bit about her. Hi, Dory. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I've been excited for this one because your story is really cool and just what you do for people is really amazing. And so let me tell you a little bit about Dory. She was born and raised in Sugar House, Utah. She attended Highland High School, Dixie College, and Utah State, and her major was nutrition and food science. Well, little did you know that wouldn't be really what you were doing, right? That's kind of how it all is for all of us. So you may know Dory from her Netflix documentary Murder Among the Mormons because in 1979 she married Mark Hoffman and she quit school to support her family while Mark was in school. In 1987, her husband was incarcerated, and this was for murder and forgery. So if you have seen the documentary or your goal, is it still on Netflix?
Yes.
If you want to go watch it, Dory is in that. And she's going to actually share so many cool insights about how such difficult times in our lives actually lead to magical and amazing things down the road. And so she was left with four young children at the time, ages 5, 3, 2, and 6 weeks. She started a daycare in her home, sold cakes, did sewing and ironing to support herself and her family, and she was divorced in 1988. She's always been interested in holistic health, and she began to pursue her interests and educate herself. Just like certain pine trees that need to experience a forest fire to germinate its seeds, the tragedy of her husband's choices have helped her to become the person she was intended to be, helping other people to overcome the trauma and tragedies in their lives, find their purpose and passion, and create the life they were born to live. So now, as a hypnotist, a Reiki master, lymphatic massage therapist for over 25 years, she's also an international global certified coach with the Napoleon Hill Institute, and her passion is to assist her clients and students in healing themselves from inaccurate thoughts, feelings, ideas, and labels about themselves and create a healing experience of body, mind, and spirit. She assists them in changing subconscious, unconscious, habitual thinking into intentional truths, realizations, actions, and manifestations of who they are able and then they are able to answer these following questions. Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? And then answer for themselves, where do they want to go? Who and what do I want to be, do, and have? I love that. So in the show notes, we're going to put all this in case you want to go back and read it. And I've got she's got so many accolades that we'll put those in there as well. But she's now integrated her palm therapy, her hypnosis, and Reiki training to create a unique process that assists her clients in quickly releasing and clearing emotional barriers. Now, combined with the Napoleon Hill Institute training, her clients can create and have an experience they want in life. So she works with individuals, also small businesses and corporations, and she's been keynote speaker. She's about to be on a local magazine, which is going to be awesome. She has four children, three living, 13 grandchildren, 12 living, and she currently lives in Mill Creek, Utah. So welcome. I'm so excited you're here.
I am too. That's kind of long. I don't know how to shorten that.
That's okay, because when I read it, normally I would shorten it, but when I read it, I'm like, no, that all needs to be in there because you just have a great story. And I love, the first time I met you, and you've heard me tell this story, but Dory and I had mutual friends before we knew each other. And so Dory worked in the office of one of my best friend's husbands. And I had no idea who she was. My friend would be like, I'm going to go get hypnotized by Dory. And I'd be like, okay, right. And so down the road, what happened is we were at a networking meeting together, and I was giving you a ride or something, and I was taking you home, and I'll never forget. I can remember just like it was so vivid, and I know that you were just the channel and the oracle for me at that time. But my youngest son had just graduated. All of the things I was involved in with him being in school were gone, and I was feeling very lost as a mother. And I knew what I was wanting to do. I already had a business, but I was just in this weird space. And we were sitting in the car in front of your house. And you said to me, this is, I don't know how exactly you said it, but something to the effect that God just opened this path for you because now you have time to go do all the things you're here to do. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I just remember just like there was such this just deep knowing of absolutely right. Now I can go do what I have wanted to do without any distractions. So, and it's been fun to do that. So tell us, where do you want to start? Because we got lots to talk about.
Well, I think right now, because that's been on my mind, I the theme of a lot of my lectures or speeches or whatever, I don't know exactly what I want to call them, but is on trusting your soul, because that's really been a lot of the lesson that I've learned, is to really allow spirit to guide the way, to really let spirit show you where to go. And I've through my that process, it takes practice, but through that process, I can really know, it's like things neon for me. It's like kind of like, ooh, and it flows a little bit. And it's like, oh, that's where I need to go. And that's what needs to happen. Even when I'm driving, I'll drive and it's like, okay, I don't know where I'm going exactly. And then the street will kind of neon. And it's like, okay, turn there, turn there. All right. Because I do use GPS sometimes, but I don't always like to use that. And it's not always
Mm.
accurate anyway. So it doesn't always get you where you want to go.
Well, it's so hard. I think that like if we can learn to trust, right? Like the things that happen are happening for us to learn, right? But I think it's just so hard. Like it takes so long and so much work. Like I hope you have easy tips for that because it's hard to learn to trust, even though it's that what you're saying is true.
Yeah, it is. And but one thing that's happening is because we have so much technology, we're depending on the technology rather than depending on ourselves. And it's taking us away from that process of really depending, really listening and following inside, because we just use our outside external devices. And
Mm-hmm.
this is something that's really important, that we turn them off and be able to listen to that. But it is something that it is trust. There is a trust there. And once you start trusting, it's like the leap of faith. You do that leap of faith where you actually say, okay, I'm going to do this. This is what it feels like. I'm going to do this and see what happens. And when you have that experience and it works, that tells you, okay, I'm going to do that again. Okay, now I'm going to do that again. And sometimes you don't hear it right, or it's not exact. And so it doesn't work, but then you keep doing it because it's about listening and listening and
Mm-hmm.
following. And that's something that I've really learned to do. And one of the reasons is because when I was with all the situation that I was in, there really wasn't anyone that could help me. Like no one could take it away. No one had the answers. No one, the only place I really could go is to source, to God, to whatever words you want to use for that. Because there's people
Mm-hmm.
call that source different words. And in infinite intelligence, Heavenly Father, there's different words, but it's all the same. And
Yes.
I had the privilege or the torture, it depends on how you look,
Right.
of of having to depend on that. Where do I need to?
Like being forced into it.
Yeah,
Kind
what
of you're just get
do?
forced into it.
And there's a reason for that, because pain is our teacher. And sometimes when we get things are so easy and smooth, we aren't learning. We aren't really learning in that environment. And it's the pain that teaches us. It's the rocky road that teaches us. And so I had some learning that was a steep road. I had a steep road, and I'm really grateful for that, because the what I got out of that was so incredible. But in the beginning, when you're in it, you don't know. You don't know what's it's the hindsight. It's looking past and going, wow, that was intense. And look what I've got. Wow, I'm so happy that I made that choice. I'm so happy that I allowed that. And
Yeah.
I mean,
To
there were
be
things,
to go through what you went through with kids that young and to like no one's I mean no there's everybody's not everybody but not a lot of people that have experienced something that extensive, right? So there was no answer, but to just trust that and not just like I don't even know how you manage that. So I'm curious how do you I'm sure it didn't start with, oh, I'm just gonna figure this out, right? And plus,
yeah,
you were fully, really, really tied to religion back then,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so I'm sure there were some awakenings there, but how do you go from that kind of intense trauma? Like, what did you do first? Like, what, besides listening, right? Listening to your higher power, but what kind of made you go, okay, there's going to be an answer?
Well, because I was getting answers, and I don't. I'm going to start in the beginning, which
Okay.
I there when I was dating Mark, there were some red flags. There were red flags.
Mm,
Noticing some red flags and going, okay, this is interesting and this is interesting. You know, what do I do about that, or what do I think about that, or what does that mean? And I didn't really know. And then when I was in that process of getting of making choices, getting engaged, it felt right when he we were talking about getting married, and it's like, do I get married? Do I not? Because you're seeing the red flags, and but I don't. You don't always know what those red flags even mean. It's like this is something I'm seeing, but is that going to be a problem? Is that going to be this is huge unknown when you're getting married? And
mm-hmm.
so I went ahead and felt the right. That's I was following the energy, and I think that's the only way for me. What feels more? What feels better? What feels like a higher frequency? What feels there's more energy to it, and I call it energy add, energy drain. What's more energy add than energy drain? And so that's when I would keep checking in, and I wasn't that good at that point. I was just a little bit. I'd done a little bit of this. It wasn't really that great, but I still was following that. And then the night before, it's interesting. The night before I was getting married, he was gonna pick me up at 7 in the morning to go to the Salt Lake Temple, LDS Temple, and get married. And I had this, so I'm alone in my bedroom in my parents' home, and this heard this voice, you don't need to do this. And I'm like, what? It was a loud voice in my room.
Wow.
And I'm like, what don't I need to do? What? And it's a woman's voice. And it was really clear. And I had to stop and think, okay, what don't I need to do? It's like, so if I don't do this, okay, my parents gonna be mad. They spent all this money. I could go back to school. Here's the choice, not get married. Okay, I do get married, and then what? And then I don't know what's going to happen. But I was weighing those two choices, and it's like it felt better. It actually felt better to get married, even though I had that. It's like there was nothing that would say, why wouldn't I get married? You know, he seemed like a good guy. There were some red flags, but nothing of criminal nature. I'll put it that way.
Right.
And it would
Yeah.
be okay. This guy's going to be doing these things, but it was interesting. So that was my first point where I had to make a choice and say, what does this mean? And I didn't know what it meant, but I knew that I needed to make a choice, and I didn't have to do it. It was my free will, and what did I want to do with that? So that's kind of started me on my path, and it when I started to listen and follow, and as things went on, that's where I had to go more into my what do I do with this situation, and what do I do with this situation, because our life was turbulent. There were a lot of money
Mm,
problems. There were a lot of there weren't a lot of there were some fights. The fights were I would get upset, he would talk about it, then I would apologize, which wasn't
mm,
my job, but that's what I did. I mean, that's what
right.
it was with things.
Most women.
Apologize, and nothing would get resolved. Nothing ever got resolved, and
Yeah.
it was just the same fight over and over and over. And so there were things that weren't really happening. And I remember sitting down one time. I was sitting on the bed, and I remember just telling him, "I'm done." I was like, "I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not happy. I'm not. I'm just. I don't know what we're doing. This isn't working. I want to get a divorce." And he got so upset, and he didn't know what to do with that. And after
Mm,
that day, I heard very distinctly, stop talking about it, just wait. Stop talking about it, just wait. Just wait.
Mm.
So I did. I stopped talking about it. I think he thought I changed my mind, or it was just in the heat of the moment that I was upset because I didn't talk about it again. And I didn't know that at the time, but I think if I would have gone ahead with that, he would not have allowed me to leave that marriage. I would have
Mm.
probably would have killed me. That was not in my perception. I had no idea of that. That was not anything
Mm.
I thought about. But I just remember really clearly. Wait, wait, wait. So I did. So I know that ended up saving my life. It saved. I mean, I would have. I don't know what would have happened if I would have just persisted with that. But I said, okay, I can. I mean, I just went into this pretend mode of normal. One part of me was watching, being the observer, watching everything, and the other part was like, okay, I'm the happy housewife. I'm the happy mother. I'm the happy. Everything's fine, and I just acted like everything was fine. I just acted like it was good, and I didn't. I mean, I would question things that wasn't. We did. It isn't that we didn't have arguments still, but I did it from a different place, and I was just,
Yeah.
hey, so this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to be. I'm going to just wait, and I know looking back, of course, don't have that hindsight necessarily in the moment, but I know that saved my life. It saved my children's lives. I don't know what he would have done because
Yeah. You had no idea what he was capable of at
yeah,
that point, right? So,
and there are stories of men who, when their wives left, they killed them because they were not willing to let. They could not let them go, and that's who
mm-hmm.
he was. I mean, I know that that's the reason. Now I know that at that point, I just had to trust, and I had to trust that getting married to him, I had to trust that all the different pieces, and then just checking in. And one of the things that I really learned about through all this process was I was known, I was protected.
Mm-hmm.
When I followed the instructions I was given, I was protected. And that it's like I wasn't alone with this whole situation. I wasn't. It's like
Mm.
there was a joint venture with God, I guess, or my angels, or I don't know exactly. But I started recognizing places where I was being protected. And I didn't have the full awareness until later about what I was being protected from, but I could feel that support. And I let myself go into that, I don't know, pretend mode is the only way I can say it. It's like kind of like being a dumb blonde, I guess, not,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How rude.
you know,
I'm just
hey,
kidding.
I was
No,
born,
I get that because I can play that. Yeah, I
this is
totally get
blonde. I
that.
mean, it's great now, but I was blonde. So I can say but
I'm teasing you.
that's kind of the thing where it's like not sharing what I knew, not sharing what I was seeing, not sharing my whole awareness, just a lot of just like going along, getting through. And it's and I was busy when I was taking care of kids. I mean, I was busy with life too. I wasn't just
Sure.
around, but it was interesting to just feel that support and just really just trusting that. And again, I didn't have any idea, but through this whole process, it showed up that those decisions were the right ones. And when I came out of through all of it, at the end, when I was done with phase one, I'll put that phase one when he went to prison, and that was I call that phase one. When I was done with that part, I was told through spirit that the work I was here to do, I could not have done without that experience. I
Mm.
had to have that experience for me to do what I came to do. For me to have like we have the yearnings of our soul, we have the passions of our soul. We're not always connected to that. We get
Sure.
connected over time, but I couldn't even have that unless I'd gone through this experience. That it was no accident that we were set up to get married, and for me to have this experience. Now there is free will. He didn't have to choose that, but he did.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was something that I needed, that to really be able to do what I came to do. And I'm grateful for that, because if that's disappointment, if you come and you're not able to do what you came to do, and you leave this earth going, wow, that was kind of a waste of my time, because I didn't do.
Yeah.
I was really grateful that I was given that opportunity. And I have been through other ways prepared. I've been who to train with, when to do certain things. I have been guided to be here to help. And as
Yeah.
we are going more and more into the chaos, which isn't bad. Chaos, the chaos isn't bad, but we're going more into chaos. People are having more anxiety. People are having more concern. They feel lost. Those are the things that I'm here to help. It's like that is exactly
Hmm.
for
I
these
love that.
people that could use that help. And so they're being able to trust that there are those that are guiding us. Everyone has their angels. Everyone has that. Everyone is guided. It's like no one is left
Hmm.
out. The only thing is whether we listen or not, whether we're
Yeah,
paying.
it's such a choice. It's a choice to tap into that energy, right? It's really an energetic connection. And so what's interesting is when you were talking about the wedding day and when you had that voice, like I always think, what would have happened if you would have followed that, right? Because all I could think about when you said that was the programming that comes with being part of all religion, right? These are the rules of the religion. My parents spent the money. I got to do this. It's the right thing to do, right? And so I love that you made the point of it's kind of the lesser of two evils, right? And so, and the point I want to make is that a lot of people live life with a lot of regret, looking back in the past and going, gosh, if I would have just done this, this would have happened. And that came full circle, just exactly how you said that. In my opinion, it doesn't matter the choice. It would have brought you to where you are. Like you have a
Yeah,
purpose, and we have this magnetic monopole path that and we're wavering off and side to side and all over, but that connection to spirit, to our inner spirit as well, keeps us drawn back to that. So I think
yeah,
no matter what you would have gotten here, but it's like, would it have taken even longer, or would it have been a whole different, maybe you wouldn't be as advanced as you are at this point with your education and what you can help people with. So it's so interesting to think of it that way, but I just think for anyone listening or watching, there just really shouldn't be regrets because you can't change it, right? And it really is, I believe that we actually chose what we wanted to experience because we knew we
yes,
needed that growth. And when you can look at it from that perspective, it really helps it not be as difficult.
yeah. So we choose our parents, and I've had challenges with my parents, and I was told it's like you chose this because of what you wanted to get over, and what
Yep.
they poking and poking and poking. I needed to get over that, and it isn't. It again, it's not pleasant. It's not fun. It doesn't feel good, but yet because they kept poking it, I finally overcame it because I was so done with it. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like, what is the lesson? What is the what with the your birth situation, with your work situation, with your friends situation? What's the lesson? What is it that you're being brought to? What is it? What is the learning there? What is the lessons? Because it's we are here to learn. We are here to experience. We're here to have joy. We're here to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all just this pain and trauma, but we
Mm-hmm.
are here to go through certain things so that we can learn because we want to maximize the price. We want to maximize our ticket price that we have for being here.
Mm-hmm. I love that. We want to maximize the price. I love it. Well, and my thought is I don't want to come back and repeat it. Like in my
Yeah,
mind, I'm like, okay, the more I grow in this life, then I'll be more advanced in the next one, right? And so I'm
yeah,
like, I don't want to come back and do it again this way. And but it's just such a gift, I think, to have that perspective to go, oh, I chose this. I wanted to learn this. So what's the fastest way I can learn this lesson? It's
yeah,
not always fast, but sometimes when you're more aware of it, you can expedite it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So when all of that happened, you had such little kid. Like, was it shocking to you? Like, as it was all playing out, and I don't know if you want to just briefly explain it for anyone that hasn't seen or read about it, what happened with your husband, but I'm just curious how fast, how long it went on, or was it just this sudden? I'm gonna go back and watch it. I watched it
well,
before
it
I met
was
you.
sudden because the bombings. It was two bombings that he perpetuated two bombings, and so there were the bombings where two people picked up packages and then they exploded and they killed them. So there were two people that were killed, and that was shocking because that was totally out of the blue. It was not anything that was expected, and and then the next day he was bombed, of course. But now we know he bombed himself. But at that point, I didn't know that. I thought someone else was bombing him, and he was in the hospital, and um, that would no, that was really
Wow.
it was really shocking. I remember shaking. I remember my whole body just shaking for days, just shaking. I couldn't stop shaking. That's it was really shocking.
Oh, yeah.
It was just
But leading up to it, like, was it just so sudden? Like, I know that he quote unquote discovered some papers, but leading up to it, like, and then when the bombings happened, was it quickly connected to him? Like, was this just like a boom,
no,
boom, boom?
it was
Oh.
it was in a way because when the first bombings happened, it was not connected with him. He was in that circle, but it wasn't connected
Mm,
with him. It wasn't connected to him until the next day when his car was bombed, because what the story that he told to the police did not match the forensic evidence. So he told
mm,
them this is what happened, and then they're looking at the car and they're looking at him and looking at the damage, and they're like, that can't have happened. And because there
mm.
were documents that he was trying what he was trying to do at that point. See, I know hindsight. I mean, I can look back and know now, but in the moment, I didn't know all this.
You had no
But
clue. Yeah.
he had there was a collection of papers that he had promoted, a collection of papers that he talked about, and he had sold the papers twice. So two different people, two different groups. It wasn't just a person. Two different groups purchased those papers, so he couldn't give. He had to one or the other had to tell you, I don't have them because he sold them twice, but they didn't even
Mm.
exist. They weren't. He were just they were fake. They did not even exist anywhere. They were just something he talked about. And
Wow.
and so he was trying to what he wanted to say was what he wanted to have happen was that the car blew up, the papers were in the trunk, they're gone. The papers are gone now because they were in the trunk and now they're destroyed. There's nothing I can do. I'm so sorry. This happened. And that the way the bombing went off, it didn't destroy. I mean, I don't remember. I remember it was all. I remember seeing the car, but I don't remember exactly what the trunk. But there was stuff in the trunk that didn't get damaged. I mean, it
Mm.
obviously was not the truth.
Yeah.
And I went to. I remember being told, and I'd gone over. He called in the morning and said, you need to leave the house. We don't know what's going to happen. So he was having me leave. So I left and went up to my mom's, and then I got a call at my mother's saying that he had been injured. And so I had my sister drive. I couldn't drive myself. I had her drive me because I was too upset
Mm.
to the hospital. And then we had a special room because of all the cameras and all the media that was there. It was really a huge event.
Yeah.
And I remember being in the hospital room watching him be interrogated by the police because they knew something was up because they saw that his story wasn't matching. Then then his parents were telling me, we know this is all your fault. You were the one that was
Oh,
pushing him into this. So it was my fault that all this happened. That's what they were saying. And then I'm watching on TV, watching my house be searched. All kinds of people are in my house and on the lawn because they're doing a search warrant on my house. So that's on TV. And then
oh.
I can't take this one more minute. And I wasn't supposed to leave the room because we were in there protected so that the reporters couldn't get to us. And I was like, I don't care. I'm leaving this room. I'm going. I have to go. And so I went out to the hallway. And I went out there, and there's no one there, totally quiet, nobody in the hall. And I remember hearing again another voice that was man this time, a very calm voice that said, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Now, I took that to mean, oh, they're going to find the right person. They're going to know who did this. They'll know it wasn't him. And everything's going to just go away and it'll all go back to normal and we'll be fine. That's what I meant. I took with that. That isn't what happened and that isn't what was meant, but everything
Yeah.
okay because things work out, and
Hmm.
as things change and our whole world literally blows apart, it still is okay. But I left
Hmm.
that hallway, went back into the room, but I felt really peaceful. And so it really didn't matter what was going on. It wasn't, I felt immune in a way to all the
Hmm.
stuff that was the external stuff that was happening around me, to his parents and all that stuff that was going on. I felt at peace, and it just took all that trauma away, and I just felt at peace. So all the things
Wow.
I do from that point on came from a more peaceful place. So I wasn't always totally at peace the whole time, but it was more peaceful because I always kept reminding me, nope, everything's going to be okay. But it wasn't just the words, it was the feeling. And it was really,
Yeah.
and that I was supported through all of that chaos. I mean, that was chaos. It's like, where do I
Oh,
even look?
like
What do I even focus on? And it was
I
definitely,
can't even imagine like the thought of that and then to have to be a single mom and take care of little kids and support them like
yeah,
and there's so many women right now with the economy and stuff that are in that space that didn't have maybe had a different kind of trauma, but that are in that space. And I just feel like this gives people hope that you can do it. But there's such an important piece of that of connecting to your higher power. Like
yeah.
I remember when I was going through all my trauma stuff with my health, I remember teaching my kids and always saying, you're always being watched over. And it's so true. So true.
It really is true. And I just had to look at okay, what I was looking at, okay, I need to get a job. And I thought, well, I've got 4 children, put them in daycare. Now there are government programs. I could do that without paying. And it's like, I don't want someone raising my kids. I want to be with my kid. I want them to be with them. So what can I do? Okay, I can have other people's kids come over. Then I can take care of them. Okay, I can do that. I've already got a bunch of kids. We'll just do more kids. So it was really,
Yeah.
that's what I started with, was doing out of my home. And then my sister gave me a referral for a job that I could do. It was part-time, but I could do be, like school hours. So I'd be home by the time the kids got home. And so
Mm.
I did some different things like that. And it just evolved, but I was just totally just paying attention and following. And I did have a inspiration one day. I had saw an ad for a husband and wife a dentist and his wife that were teaching a class on dental assisting. I thought, well, that's a good thing. I can do that. So I borrowed the money, got the money. Well, I didn't borrow it. I was gifted the money. I
Mm.
got it from my bishop and I asked him if he would pay for that. And he said, yes, he would. And I went to that class and the dentist's wife was so kind to me. And she was like, you are really smart, which I hadn't heard for all of my marriage because he wasn't telling me that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're really smart. You should become a hygienist. You should do this. You should do that. You should go back to school. And I went through and finished that certification and I was all excited to go and get a job, to go apply. So I went to this dentist's office. I had an appointment to interview and I pulled into the dentist office. And as soon as I pulled in the parking lot, I knew. I was like, oh no, because I could feel that being that employee of that dentist is like, that's not what I should be doing. Doing the course was right because it gave me confidence. It helped me get back.
Sure.
It was the right thing to do that course, but to do the job, no. So I went into the interview and I told the dentist, like, I just try to be upfront. And I've learned that just to be honest and upfront. And I said, I'm driving up here and I'm feeling the spirit telling me that I shouldn't be taking this job. And I'm so sorry I'm wasting your time. And he was really impressed with that. And he said, if you decide differently, come back and I'll get you a job. He liked me because I just was telling him.
Up front. Yeah.
And then I had to go back and tell my family and the bishop, it's like, talk to these. I'm not doing this after I paid the money and after I went through all this. And they're like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? And shortly
Ugh.
after, I kept getting after that happened, and it was just not right away, but a little bit after, I kept having the feeling to go do massage. And I'm like, I don't want to do massage therapy. It's like, why would I do that? That's not, I mean, it's nothing, I've never even thought about doing that. There's nothing even in anything that I even know about. And it kept coming and it kept coming. And finally I said, okay, I'm surrendering. And there were a lot of schools and I went through all the schools and like, is this the right one? Is this the right one? Is this the right one? And all of them were like, I didn't feel good about them. And I thought, oh, what am I going to do? I can't, like, if I'm going to do this, I got to find a school. And then I ran into accidentally or randomly or on purpose, however you want to look at that. I met a gentleman, I didn't know him. And he started talking to me about this school that he was starting where he was doing massage therapy and aesthetics. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And this woman had just got back from her mission. She had a school, served an LDS mission for 18 months, and had just come back to town. So she wasn't around when I'm searching all these schools. And I went to see her, and she was the one. And I had I did a title loan on my car, and I did a few things. I had the money, and she was the right one. And I trained with,
Wow.
and that's where I got my massage therapy, and that's when I did my aesthetics. And then I had a massage therapist that I knew that I worked out of her place. I had a room, rented a room out of her place. And that's where I started on the weekends. I kept my day job, but on the weekends and on Saturdays, I would do that. And then I was still, I mean, having to adjust the schedule with my kids because with taking care of them too. But I was able to do that. And it was interesting
Wow.
that, yeah. So that was my first. The Reiki was first. I did that but that's like did the Reiki before I did the dental assisting. But it was
Oh,
interesting.
you did? So you did Reiki way back
Yeah,
before it was a
it
thing. But
was 97 when I did my Reiki. But
what I want to point out in what you just said is that I think every woman in the world, probably every person too, but I just most people that watch this are women, has that thing where they're just like they have this decision. It's called I'm doing what I call it I'm doing what I'm told from a spiritual level, right? So I'm doing what I'm told, but you have the that I'm doing what I'm told and the earthly I'm doing what I'm told. And we battle that so much because you were gifted money, spent that money to do something that in your lifespan purpose was to build it was there was a purpose for it, right? But in the earth world purpose, from the earthly standpoint in our programming, it's like, well, you did this, now you have to stick with it. And I think that is one of our biggest barriers that we run up against is that fear of being like, no, I'm going to follow what feels right for me instead of the fear of what other people are going to say, do, and think about you. And so to at that point in your life to be able to go, oh, nope, that's not for me. Moving on to the next thing. If the faster we can learn that, I just think that is such a key point that you brought up because what I've noticed with myself is that if I'm so far along that I should always recognize that now, but when I don't, my inner self will do it for me. So I want to give you a quick example. So I a while back had thought about getting back into the airline industry. I miss traveling and I was like, sometimes it's hard to be self-employed. It's a lot of work. And I was like, I'm gonna go apply for an airline job. And it was the first job I applied for. I got all the way to the very end. I got to the very last interview. And all along the way, I had issues. My email didn't go through. The video wouldn't work. Like everything was going wrong. And I knew. I was like, this is God showing me that this is not the direction you're supposed to go, but I ignored it. And I got to that very last interview and it was a Zoom just like this, but it was with two management people. And I'm just sitting there through the interview and I look into the screen and I'm literally sitting there like this in the chair in a job interview. And that was the wake up call I needed. I was like, you don't even want this. Like your soul is like so it's making you act in a way you would never act in a job interview. And so I'm saying that and giving that example along with yours because I just want people to learn to trust it. You bypass so much time wasting, inner turmoil, all of that when you trust that. So how cool that you did that, especially in a situation where you're like, I need to make money.
yeah, yeah, make money. And I did pay a price because it's like that. People look at me like I'm stupid or I don't follow through or what's wrong with you or that hasn't, that kind of stays with you with people when they make those judgments.
Mm-hmm.
When you
Yeah.
don't follow through with something that you should have done. So yeah, there's prices to pay. But for me, being able to be true to my soul, that matters the most to me. That is the
Mm-hmm.
because I anything else just feels unbearable. And you get to where you get so fine tuned, and that's what you're talking about too. It's like you get so fine tuned that you go off of that, and it's like this feels so terrible. I got to get back on. I cannot stay in this place where I'm away from that because it just feels
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't feel good at all.
Yeah.
You really get that sensitive, and you have to it's just it's too unbearable to be in that place where you're not listening,
Yeah.
following. That it does take practice to do that.
It takes a lot of, and it takes a lot of practice to not go backwards. Like even
Yeah.
sometimes I've probably brought this up on the podcast before that I joke around that it's like, oh, don't you just want to go back to not knowing what you know? Because in some ways it's easier, right? It's some ways. And
Yeah.
also when you're making that transition, you're like, you kind of go through a lot to get to that trust, right? And I don't
Yeah.
want to go backwards because I love what I know, but there are times where I'm like, huh, the old me would have just went, oh well.
Yeah, but it actually I don't think it is easier because as you look back, as I look back at where I was, it's like I wasn't happy and I was
Mm-hmm.
doing I just that it may seem like it's easier, it's more flatline, but I
It's
don't
not.
but
I
I
agree.
feel that it was easier because that when you start recognizing that cluelessness that you're in, that and
Mm-hmm.
out of that, there's decisions, there's activities. I was a lot. I had a lot of boredom. I
Mm,
was not doing what I needed to do, and I wasn't, and that spark wasn't igniting inside me. And so it's like living a bored life, and doing living a bored life, living a life for someone else. Like there's someone said, be the main character, be the main person in your own movie. And I was not the main person. I was in everybody else's movie, helping them,
yeah,
but I wasn't in my own movie. And
it's a good point.
that gets really tiresome after a while. It's like why don't I feel good? Why aren't I not happy? Why aren't I? And it's because you're supporting everyone else. And I am really good at, I'm a good caretaker. I'm good at supporting. That's something I really am good at. So I've had people in my life who really want to use that. It's like, I want you to be helping me. I want you to be making sure I get where I need to be, making sure, and that's okay for a while. But when you get to a certain point, you can't do that anymore. You have to be living
Yeah.
your own life. You have to be doing what you need to do for you. And I know,
Well,
yeah. So
and as a reflector, so you're a reflector in human design, right?
mhm.
So as a reflector, not only did you have all the stuff, the life stuff, reflectors take on all energy, everyone's energy,
Yeah.
all the time, emotional, fear, thoughts, low self-worth, lack of identity, all of it. So you had to also learn how to deal with all that at the same time.
And I was in that and not recognizing why I was in that because that was
Mm-hmm.
I was taking on everyone's stuff. I was thinking it was about me. I didn't know I people would get upset at me because they were unhappy, but it wasn't about me, but they made it about me because that was easier than to make it owning up to their own responsibility. There was a lot of stuff. And so
Yeah.
I look at that and I think that, no, it's not easier. I think it's easier to be awake.
You're right. I no, you're absolutely right about that. But in those moments where we're like, I'm not paying attention very well, but
Yeah.
I do look at people who are really in a lot of fear right now and really struggling with what's going on with the world, with politics and all this stuff. When you've gone to that next level of understanding, none of that it matters. Like it matters in a way that we have compassion and we feel for it, but in a big context from a bigger picture of spiritual, it's all part of the plan,
It's a
right?
plan, and you bringing that up, one of the things to do is you write out the fears. What it's like, I'm afraid of this and I'm afraid of that. You start writing out, and then you look at that phrase that you ran out. I'm afraid of what's happening in the politics. Okay, so what does this mean? Do I know what it means? And that first lesson in Course in Miracles is, I don't know what anything means. It's the meaning we put to it because we think
Mm,
we know what it means, and that's making us afraid. And when you start thinking, well, I don't know, what if that means nothing? What if it's just
yeah.
a cycle in life? We've had so many cycles on this planet, how many thousands of years? What if it's just another cycle? What if
Hmm.
step back a little bit and not and just to be observing? That's one thing I was taught. It's like when you align with the observer, stress falls away, peace and action. Those are the words that was given.
Hmm.
Stress falls away. So you just start you looking at, you're not in it, you're observing it and going, how interesting this is happening. How interesting that that's happening. How interesting. And you're just noticing rather than being embroiled with the emotions of it.
Hmm.
But you need to look at what is it that is causing that fear? What's the meaning? And then what must I be believing is a really another good statement. So when I would get really
Mm.
upset, I would have with my 14-year-old daughter, my youngest, she and I would have fights and I would get really upset with her. And one day I just had it and I was like, what is going on with me? Why am I getting so upset with her? Why do I what is the why she loved the triggering because that's what she loved to do was trigger me and she could. And it's like,
Mm.
what is it that's triggering me? What is it? Why am I going in this reaction? And then as I sat down and just sat with that, I had the realization come to me. I was feeling like I was not a good mom. And partly because I've been told that over time by multiple different people, but it was also because I didn't feel like I was doing that good a job and I wasn't at home anymore. I was gone a lot. I was working and I just had a lot of
Mom
I put
guilt.
into that, and I sat down and said, "Is this true?" And that's the Byron and Katie, the four questions. Is
Mm-hmm.
this true? And it's like, no, it's not true. Oh, so I can let go of this idea that I'm not a good mom, and I can just stop. It's like even though all these things are happening, and that even though that's from the tapping, even though this is happening,
Mm.
I unconditionally love and accept myself. So even though this is happening, I'm a good mom. Even though this situation and this situation and this situation, I am still a good mom. And the next time that my daughter did her little triggering thing, I didn't get triggered. And I just looked at her and I said, huh, not working. Isn't that interesting? It's not working this time. And
Oh
I
my gosh.
and I told her, I said, well, I've worked on that, so that's not going to trigger it. And she says, well, don't worry, Mom, I'll find something else. And I started laughing and I said, good, because the more things you find, then if I get triggered, I'll just look at them and I'll remove them. It's like, that'll help me as you point out the places where I'm getting triggered. Thank you. And then
Ah.
she started laughing and it's like, wow, okay, thanks for poking me. And if it's something that I get triggered with, that's something I need to take care of. So those are some things that really help. That's what the subconscious mind is about, meanings. And the meanings we put to things, and they may be accurate, they may not be accurate, but it's the meanings that make us have us go into reactions, have us go into our pain, anxiety. It's all the meanings. What if it meant nothing? What if this
Yeah.
whole thing with the politics means nothing? What if it's just a cycle? What if this means nothing? What if you are already safe? That's a lot of things. Like, because this is
Mm.
happening, we're not going to be safe, and we're not going to have this, we're not going to have this. Well, what if because you are connected to your angels or because you are trusting spirit, no matter what's happening politically, you are safe. You have what you need.
Yeah.
You're getting through. You're getting ideas of how to take care of you and your family. What if it's okay? What if it's all going to be okay, like I was told in the hallway? What if everything's going to be okay in the face of these different things that are going on that seem scary? What if it doesn't mean anything? And that's one of the things with that Course in Miracles. Like so that's like, do the lessons in that book. That's a great book to do lessons with. The text is a bit
Mm.
tricky sometimes, but I would just start with, if you get that book, just start with the lessons. But
That's
it
been on my list for a long time. So
it's that
you've,
it's like, I do not know what this means. And as you look at something that you're having those feelings, like, what if I don't know what this means? What if I don't even know?
yeah.
And what am I getting upset about where I don't even know? It's when you put the meaning to it, that's when you start getting upset.
Yep.
And so this
Yeah.
means
That's, I
nothing,
love that.
that means nothing, this means over here means nothing. And and then it really, you start getting more even in your emotions, because it's the meanings that have that run us around. It's the emotions with the meanings.
Hmm.
But
Yeah. It's hard for me to watch, like being on the other side where you're just able to do that. It's hard for me to watch when people are struggling because I'm like, oh, if you just understood, it
yeah,
doesn't have to, you don't have to allow this to affect you.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, and sometimes that's like, maybe I can help them, or maybe we could do something. But sometimes they just have to learn the lessons, and it's
Yeah, well, we're all here to learn a lot of lessons. So, okay, so when you help people, so you've got the massage therapy, you started with Reiki,
yeah,
then massage therapy,
yeah.
and then is that when the
I did
hypnosis came
I
in?
did aesthetics, but I don't do that anymore. I'm not
Mm,
licensed, but I realized I like to help people more on the inside than on the outside. Even though
mm-hmm.
I did a good job with people and I loved it, but that was something I let go of. And then I do lymphatic massage, which is about healing. So that's
Mm-hmm.
do the lymphatic massage. I have a light and sound machine, which gives you, it helps you to learn how to go to different brainwave patterns. So you can go to relaxation. It trains you to go to those different patterns on your own, but it helps you to be in reduce stress. And so I do light and sound sessions. Which is a little machine you put glasses on, has flashes of light and a tone on headphones with a tone, and those it takes you to different brainwave patterns. That's
Hmm.
cool. And learning how to use that is really cool. I have my Avicen machine, which is about supporting the microcirculation. So when you use that, it assists you in your circulating in your whole body. And I did that when started using that when I had surgery on my face. I had a piece of cancer on my face that I needed to have removed. And when I started using that, it was amazing how much better I felt after surgery. And when I
Hmm.
went to my doctor for my 6 week checkup, he fired me because he said I was so far ahead that there's nothing he could do. It's like you have 90 more days, and I can't help you. You're so far ahead.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
it healed that fast. So I have that. That's really amazing. It's good for arthritis, and it's good for healing. There's a lot of things that's good for, but that's an amazing. So I use that too. So I have a nutritional line. I have Micro Daily, Engage Global Micro Daily, which all of these things I asked. I had a situation. What do I need to do here? What do I need to do here? And then I was pointed in the direction. I do a shungite. This is shungite right here,
Mm-hmm. I love
where
shungite.
really what we were my business partner and I were talking when I was in a group practice. I'm not anymore. We were talking about the EMF and what do we do and how do we take care of it, and there really wasn't an answer. And then I went home. I was really interested. I went home and I'd been listening to an internet radio show, which isn't on anymore, but it's Wolf Spirit. It was called Wolf Spirit. It's like, I hit it really clearly. Turn on Wolf Spirit right now. So I turned it on, and there was a woman who was an expert in using the shungite, and she talked about it, and it was telling all the things you can do. And I immediately told my business partner, and we ordered it, and that's what I've done ever since, is using shungite because it really helps attenuate the Wi-Fi
Mm-hmm.
with the EMF. And there's blood tests that show that it works, and that's very easy. I just wear it. So I just put it on. I just wear it. So I have a
Yeah.
lot of different things that I've had a question. Here's something I need to solve, and then I get pointed to the answer, and that's what I bring in for my services. And there are so many different services. I see it as a wheel. You've got a hub, and then you have all these spokes that are on that wheel, and each of those are modalities. So different people are drawn to different modalities. And so these are the
Mm-hmm.
ones that I have been guided to do. Other people are guided to do other things. And so it's not a competition. It's not about good or bad. It's just who do you need to go to? What do you need? But these are the ones I've been guided to. And it's been very clear. Now you're doing this. Now you add this. Now this is going to help people here. And that's what I want to do. I help people body, mind, spirit. Help them have the body
Mm.
healthy and strong. You can't do your work unless your body's healthy and strong. Helping people with
Too.
emotions, helping people get on their spiritual path, and in specific ways. And that's what I do. So my passion is to help people be able to do what they came to do. So I'm here to help other people do what they came to do. That's what my
I love that.
so
So when someone comes in to do hypnosis with you, do you do like past life regressions or anything like that?
I do. Yeah, I do past life. I do higher self. I do age regression, and I do just trauma. I mean, there's hypnosis. There's so many different ways, and I've been doing it for over 25 years. 26 this year. I'll be doing it 26 years, and I have a lot of experience in a lot of different areas. So,
Hmm.
a lot of it I just listen to intuition of what someone can request, and I can do that. But sometimes it's more like what do they need, and
What
then
field? Yeah.
my intuition about what kind of sessions that they need.
Well, and in today's world, I think we're having so many more people open up to alternative modalities. And so they don't know where to begin. That's one of the reasons I started Women Wellness and Woo Woo is so that I can't do everything and I don't want to learn everything. My actual astrology and my human design is to bring New Age forward, which we know now that a lot of what we're learning is not New Age, it's old, but it's
It's
coming back, right? It's not, but for me, I didn't, like, I would see something and be like, ooh, I want to learn that and I want to learn that, but I literally didn't have the capacity to do it. And so what I was downloaded to me is no, you just need to show it to people. You don't have to be the administrator of it, right? And so it's been so fun to learn all of these new modalities, but we're in a space now where more with the downfall of all the crud happening in Western medicine and people waking up to the fact that they're not here to heal us the way that we need to be healed. Um, so many people are starting to open up to these alternative modalities, and for them to be able to come to somebody like you that has not only the internal wisdom that's just there, the longevity wisdom, and then all of the modalities that they need someone that can just be like, you know what, let me just feel into that and see what I think that you need,
yeah,
because they will get much better help than if they just come in for one specific thing. Like for me, the hypnosis like is so intriguing to me. So I we're doing that. We have to do that at some point. But I think the reason that I do this podcast is because I want people to know there are so many people. And what's really cool is there's a lot of people that do massage, there's a lot of people that do Reiki, but when you take a personal soul, right? And then you incorporate all these modalities, they have their own modality. So your
mhm.
modality is different than what anyone else is going to do. And what someone else down the road might be doing with Reiki may not be relatable to what you do. And so there's no the right person, it's going back to what you said in the beginning, the right person will come into your life. I think before we got on here, we talked about you said something about knowing which way to turn. Like you just know because you're just told, right? And so because a lot of people are really overwhelmed with where do I begin? Who do I go to? That's the purpose of having people like Dory on here is because I know Dory, I trust Dory. Everyone that I recommend or people that I know trust have used their services or just have been in a long time relationship to know that they are sincere and truly here doing what they're here to do. So when someone comes to you, is that kind of what you do? Is you just fill into what kind of like what spirit tells you they need?
Yeah, it is. And then it's like, where do they start? And then progressing with them. And so a lot of my clients that I started with doing their work, now I teach. I teach Reiki and
Mhm.
I teach the hypnosis. They can certify. I certify in hypnosis, so that they're now becoming practitioners, which we need
Mm,
a lot. We need a lot more than we have. So it's really cool to follow them on the journey where they began, and then now they're becoming the ones that people are coming to. And I love that. I love that journey.
mm,
It's really is about talking with people, seeing what where they are, where they want to start, what I I can I can express what it's feeling like to me, but then where do they want to go? And then I also work with their budget of time and money. So where do they
mm,
start so they can it's something that is manageable for them. And it's just a journey. Yeah, it's a journey of what do you want? What are you willing to do to get that? And it's like let's get started. And it really is
mm,
amazing. The things that I do, there's a lot of we have a lot of healing. We all have a lot of healing to do, but there's a lot of transformation in every single session. It's like you leave different every session
mhm,
with awarenesses and understanding. And I love that. I love that. So that's the whole program may take longer, but you're going to be getting that all along the way. So you're not going to wait till the whole program's over before seeing a result. You're going to see a result.
mhm.
So I
Yeah. Well, and it's just like you said in the beginning, just listening to that inner voice that's telling you, like if you're watching this and you're like, that just resonates with me. That's something about what Dory said resonates. That's your cue, right? That's your sign from your higher power. Maybe you should look into this a little bit more. Maybe you reach out to Dory because I know for my healing, I came from the church. I'm curious, we don't have a ton more time left, but I'm curious a little bit because I was raised in the LDS church and I don't know that they ever came out and said, don't do astrology, don't look into your
they did,
chakras, don't.
They did.
Did they? They did. So I'm curious because I have many clients that actually were told you can't do this. And then I have some that they're just like, you know what? Just be careful with it and you can do like it's not really a straight across the board thing. But I wanted to bring this up because some of our religious programming tells us not to do this. And that's where you start to go, okay, what is my insight? No one has a higher connection to your higher power than you yourself. No one is here to tell you if you're worthy, if you have value, if something is correct for you before you learn it for yourself. And so I'm curious that when you started to do all this, did that come up for you or were you,
Yes, I
it
did come.
did?
And I was quiet and I wasn't really talking about it. So I was doing stuff, but not everyone understood or knew what I was doing. But
Mm-hmm.
it was something where, as I became aware, like I started doing Reiki, it's like I couldn't not do it. There was so much, there was such a draw for me to go that in that direction. And it's like it was more, had more energy than not doing it. So
Mm-hmm.
I overrode that program because it's like I needed to follow this, and I didn't know whether it would cause a problem or not. Some it depends on the members, their bishops, and the leaders and stuff, because some of them are more um, lenient or they're more understanding than others are more strict. So it really depends.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I had to go to I need to trust my soul, and that's why I call trusting my soul. That's a lot of times my title because I had to. That's where I had to go. Trust my soul rather than the out external. And um, and I just over yeah, it's like I'm hearing this and I'm hearing this and I'm hearing this. I'm going to go do this anyway.
Yeah. Well,
And
we're just so conditioned to let other people tell us right and wrong and what we should do. And I just know there's a lot of people out there that could be listening to this that are in that space, right? And it doesn't mean I'm not here to tell you to leave your religion or to bash religion. I'm just saying don't let that override truth for you.
yeah, and that is something that was interesting to me because in the beginning I made a emotional choice. Was like, okay, I'm done with church. I'm not going there. I'm not going to be there. And I was told very specifically, yes, you're staying in church. You were
Mm,
That was the right thing for me. It gave me a support system. It helped me get stronger. I needed to be there. So there are moments when we need to be in that situation, that organization, and there's times when we aren't. And so it
mm,
really is, it's not this one way or the other all the time. Because that was when I had that, and it did help me to be part of that. And then as I got more and more understanding, then I realized that I needed to be in the higher frequencies, and that's when
mm,
I started having my different experiences with that. But there was initially, it's like you are to go to church, and I was definitely told, get up right now and you go to church. And it was actually the Friday after he was in prison, so it was the Sunday after he was in prison. So that was the first time all the
wow.
media, all the stuff, and I would have to walk into that church, and as I went into the back, I could hear this, Tori's here, Tori's here, Tori's here.
Oh,
All through the
sure.
station, everyone was shocked that I was there. I was told that I shouldn't be in church. I was contaminating it. I was told I
What?
I had so many experiences, and I was told everyone, "Oh, you need to be here. We're here for you." I had all of these swings. Oh yeah, I had all these swings of different things, depending on where people were. And it's like it doesn't matter. I was told to be here. I'm coming. And then over time, that's when I had those realizations and growth that I was like, okay, I need to be. I was finding that I was having to lower my frequencies to be in church rather than they
Mm-hmm.
were raising them. And because they were raising them initially, when you have to lower, that's when you need to make a different choice. So that's when I made that different choice. But there was initially it was raising my frequencies. So yeah,
Wow.
I've had the gamut of so many things. It's just amazing. But it's like, and it didn't matter. I mean, that woman, it didn't matter that she had said that because I wasn't going to follow that. I was going to follow what was inside. And, but there are people that were really upset that I was at church. So they thought I was terrible. But yeah.
And you had nothing to do with, you were just
Oh, yeah.
trying to get through life. That's I think what bothers me the most is just that judgment when people, and I feel like people that I do believe in karma, and I think eventually people understand down the road. I had a neighbor many, many, many years ago who had an autoimmune before they were even a thing. And she would come to church, but she was in a lot of pain all the time. But because she was up and going and could get ready, in my mind, I was like, "Sorry, she's not sick, right?"
Yeah.
Until I got one. Then it
Yeah.
was like, oh, let's just give you one or two maybe so that you can experience what that's like to feel like garbage but seem like you're normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that comes around, but I love the way that you said that about the frequency and the religion because I think a lot of people are attracted to any religion because it brings them a connection they've never felt before to a higher power. I mean, there are good things about religion.
Yes.
And I think that I have a couple of clients that have incredible gifts that they've been afraid to bring forward because of it. And then when they do and they get brave, they're like, well, now I don't know if I should stay or I should go because of what you just said. And my message to them has always been first, trust your instinct, your inner guide. But secondly, there's a lot of women in the church that actually need you to be there for the support. And I've said that to so many
Yeah.
people that I love that you said that because you were one of the people that needed the support, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's again back to what you said, trusting your soul, doing, and that's just something we've been so conditioned out of that
Mm.
I just tell people start with little tiny things like when you're driving down the road, ask, should I turn this way to avoid this? Like you're constantly being told stuff, but we
Yeah.
ignore the little things.
Or even asking, okay, I'm going to buy some tomatoes. Do I buy this can of tomatoes or do I buy this can? I mean, you start really being able to tell things, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll put the one can in the basket and go, oh, you know what? I think I need to get the other one. It's really, yeah, starting with small things. It doesn't have to be this gigantic decisions. It's just the
Mm-hmm.
small things. What time do I need to go to the store today? When do I need to visit my friend? When do I go to work? If you're not a certain time, or which direction do I drive? Because I found myself sometimes going different directions, and I don't know why. I don't know why I'm going a different direction than I. Maybe there would have been a traffic accident, or maybe it would have been
Mm-hmm.
slowed down. I just you just learn how to follow that, and just that's what I'm doing. Okay, this is what I'm doing right now. Okay,
Yeah, it's so magical when you really
so
learn to trust it. Do you know what your strategy and authority is in your design? Oh, I lost you. You froze up. Hold
am
on.
I
There.
frozen? Did I freeze?
You froze, but I can hear your voice. Are you there? Hmm. I wonder if my internet will usually tell me if I'm a little bit. There you are. Okay, what was your strategy? Do you know what your
Frozen.
strategy and authority is? That's okay.
What was the
No big
question?
deal. Do you know what your strategy and authority is in your human design?
No.
I'm gonna have to pull your chart. I usually will pull a chart before, and we didn't do that for this one, but I'd be curious of that because that was one of the biggest things that attracted me to human design is that it actually tells you how your body tells you how to make decisions. So for me, understanding that I get an instant yes or no that I should never question was huge because when I stopped questioning it, I always made a more correct decision. So some of us just learn that naturally by going through and trusting it, right? Kind of like how you said.
Yeah, it does take practice, but it's learning how to recognizing those signals, and then
Yeah,
it is trust. Yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, I appreciate your time. I love chatting. I could chat with you all day. So if
Okay.
you, I could chat about this kind of stuff all day long. That's why I started the podcast. I'm like, I have to be able to like talk about this all the time. So, um, if you want to reach out to Dory, she does everything through text. So in the show notes, we will put her phone number. And if you just want to text her and she'll answer your questions, set up a session with her. She's here in Utah. In are you in Murray?
My business is in Murray, but I do Zoom. I have clients in Italy and in Canada and in New York. We can do
Yeah.
Zoom, or we can do stuff in person. It doesn't matter where people live.
Yeah.
But
That is
yeah,
one of the beauties of technology is that
I
we
do.
can help people all over.
Yeah, we can help people all over. And I do a free consultation, so we can just talk. It doesn't, and just see what you want to do. It doesn't have to cost any money initially, so you can just see what would be right for you. So
I love that. So if you're feeling drawn to this, reach out to Dory and Um, like I said, we'll put everything in the show notes and all of her certifications. And thank you, Dory, so much for your time. That just so fun, so enlightening, and it just you always help me see things that I wasn't seeing before. So I just love it. I appreciate you.
You too.
Okay, have a fantastic afternoon and week, and I will see you all next week when we release the next podcast. Bye bye.
Bye bye.